Hello, welcome to today's webinar. My name is Kenneth Kabaki. I'm one of the integration consultants here at IBIS. I'm also a developer, CRM developer, so I'll be guiding you along this webinar titled An Introduction to Scribe Online, and I'll also provide you with integration best practices. So the agenda for today, or the intention for today, is to provide you with 5 integration best practices based on our years of experience in being an integration consultant. And we'll also give you an introduction to Scribe Online. We will be covering the Scribe Insight on the next webinar. So today's we'll just be introducing you to Scribe Online. And we'll also provide you with a demo which walks you through how to set up Scribe Online, and also provide you with a Scribe Online functional overview. And lastly, I'll welcome any questions you might have pertaining to what we go over today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Before we dive into Scribe Online, I'd like to share with you 5 integration best practices. This sort of some things to consider next time you're doing any kind of integration implementation, and this will make it easy for you to whenever you're going through the integration process or any kind of migration of your data. The first one, and this is one that I see consistently, is that you need to know where your data and your systems are. And with that comes a good point whereby you need to come up with an integration plan and determine how to measure your income and outcome and end goal as well. These two basically will sort of give you an overview, or rather give you the big picture of what your integration plan should be, and where you want to move your data from, and where you want it to end up. And as part of that, also knowing your applications, knowing which workflows will be triggered by your integrations, knowing whether your system allows a certain number of API calls. So basically, know your system, know where your data is located, and come up with a good plan, or rather even a schematic showing exactly what you're moving from what and where it's ending up in. And with that also, it's always a good idea to basically inform everyone concerned with where the data is coming from and where it's going. So prior to doing any kind of data integration or migration, it's a good idea to sort of bring everyone together and know exactly what the outcome should be. Whenever you're doing, and number 3, whenever you're doing any kind of integration or migration, it's always a good idea to map and test as often as you can, so that by the time you are actually integrating, you are good to go, and all the data and everything that's being moved is going to the right place. And this is number 4 is one that I see quite often, whereby whenever you create any kind of integration solution, always make it as efficient as possible. One thing that I notice consistently is that integrations tend to take too much effort out of the application, and there are ways to, nowadays applications are much easier to use, and it's easy to make them more efficient. And lastly, and this applies to any other kind of implementation that you might have, is to verify, and I'll add to that, test as often as you can. Because the way you set the integrations, it's how they will run. And if you haven't tested them efficiently, then obviously any kind of incorrect integrations will result in incorrect outcome at the end. So let's go ahead and get started with Scribe Online. Scribe Online is a new offering by Scribe, which it provides a convenient platform to enable you to integrate, migrate, replicate your data no matter where the data is located. One of the strongest points in Scribe Online is that you can integrate regardless of where your data source is. For instance, if you are integrating or migrating data from your on-premise database, all you have to do is install something on your remote server, and you'll be able to integrate using Scribe Online. And Scribe is sold as an online solution, which is secure, efficient, and scalable for IT. And currently, we have about 80 different adapters that you can use in Scribe Online. And it's an easy to use interface because it's all web based. It's accessible and intuitive to use for a wide range of technical users. And I should also mention that IBIS is a Scribe partner. So if you ever have any questions about Scribe, we do have a good collection of experts here in our company who can help you with your integrations. And also we do deal with CRM and ERP solutions as well. So the Scribe Online architecture consists of three primary components. There's a cloud component which manages the information about the user as well as the configuration settings for all the solutions and integration solution that you create. And we'll walk through that when I do the demo. The next component, which is by far the most important, is the Scribe Online Agent. An agent is what securely communicates with Scribe Online Cloud and connects your data endpoint. So without the agent, so basically every integration requires an agent for it to run. And we have two different types of agent. There's a cloud-to-cloud agent, and as I mentioned before, we have the on-premise agent, which it's basically an agent which you download on your local computer, and it will have access to any data sources that you have on your local computer. So you don't have to open the firewall as long as you have internet access on that local machine. You'll be able to communicate with the cloud service and run your integration. And the endpoints are securely transmitted across each other, so everything is secure. You don't have to run it through a specific port. As long as you have access to the internet, the agent will communicate securely. And lastly, there is the client, which is primarily a web browser where you manage your integrations, implement certain frequencies, and do anything related to your integrations. So the first component that we'll walk through is the cloud. Like mentioned before, the cloud manages information about your user account as well as configuration settings. So when you sign up for Scribe Online, you'll be prompted to create an integration service. So when you create one, that gives your company access to the cloud service through which your agent will communicate through. The second component, which again is most important, is the agent, and you have two options, which is a cloud agent and the on-premise agent, which sits behind your company's firewall. And again, if you have access to the internet, you'll be able to communicate with Scribe Online. So there are only two types of agents. So any type of integration that you create will either have a cloud agent or an on-premise agent for it to function correctly. And lastly, there's the web browser, which is built using Silverlight and has a component where you can do easy drag and dropping to create your integrations. And again, we'll walk through that during the demo phase of this application. So enough talk. Let me show you what I'm referring to. So I'll share with you the first screen I'll share with you is the Scribe Online website, and I'll walk you through the different components that are available. So this is the Scribe Online website, and to access it, you go to the URL is online.scribesoft.com. I believe if you have never used Scribe Online, you do have the option of implementing a 14-day trial period where you can run as many integrations as you want just to test it out. And once you finish the integration, the testing process, you can purchase a license. So this is an interface that you'll come across when you sign up for Scribe Online. It's a simple, intuitive, easy-to-use process. So the first step will be to create a company. You create an organization. So this mostly applies to consultants. If you're doing any kind of integrations for multiple types of organizations, you'll have to create a new organization for each group of integrations that apply to different companies. And this could also apply if you are integrating like different departments within the same company. If you would like to segment them to the different departments, then you can always create a Scribe Online organization. So once you've created the organization, you have to create the agent that I was referring to. So this particular agent, I installed this on my local development machine. And once you create an agent, and it's fairly easy to download. So to install a new agent, you select the new agent and define whether you want to create a cloud agent or an on-premise agent. So if you click on the install on-premise agent, you get a prompt to download an application which you'll install on your local development machine or the local machine that you'll be extracting your data from. And during the registration process, once you're in your local machine, you'll be prompted for an agent key, which basically authenticates you using Scribe Online. So once you have the agent loaded in your local machine, then you'll be able to communicate. In my case, I have a development machine called Kenneth, where I have, so this is my local machine where I install the agent. And as you can see, I have SQL Server running on this machine, and I have CRM running on this machine. So Kenneth, the CRM instance on this machine is only accessible inside this development box. However, because I've installed the agent, I'll be able to access CRM as well as all the databases available inside the Kenneth instance of my development box. So the agent basically allows me to access information, data that's inside, behind the company's firewall. And to set up the agent is once you've downloaded it, all you have to do is select it, and once you enter that code that's given to you, it will automatically authenticate. So once you've installed it on your local machine, they will start communicating. And because now we have an agent, we can create a connection which simply retrieves the different data points inside the agent, and you have the options of connecting to whatever data set that you have. In this case, I have access to the CRM environment in my local instance, which I can easily connect by providing these credentials. So what's happening here is that it's communicating with the agent that was installed on my local machine and establishing a connection and authenticating me through the user ID that I provided. Give me a few seconds while it connects. And similarly, I do have a SQL instance on that machine as well, and a database that I'll be accessing through. It's on the same instance as well. So if I hit the test connection, it will do the same thing and connect through the agent and give me access to the database that's installed on the Kenneth development box. So once you have the agent and the connections running, then you can start creating the integration. So in my example, I'll be integrating from the Kenneth CRM using the CRM adapter and putting the data inside my database called Kenneth. And this is the database that I'm referring to. So I do have a database called users. I have a database called work at IBIS, and there's a table called users, which I'll be inserting data from that's coming from CRM. So presently there isn't anything inserted here. So okay, so there are two ways to create an integration. First, you click on the solutions, and you can have as many solutions as you want, depending on what type of information you are integrating back and forth. In my case, I created a CRM to database integration, which again is moving data from CRM into the database table that I showed you. And there are two basic ways of doing this. There's a basic version of integration, which gives you a simple drag and drop from two fields. So the left is the source, and the right is the target. And whatever I want to move, all I have to do is just drag and drop and put it next to whatever field I'll be mapping into. So in this case, I'll be taking the email from CRM and putting it in the email. And you have the flexibility of defining the type of connection or the type of integration, whether you want it to be an insert update, insert. You do have that flexibility whenever you're creating the integration by selecting whatever operation you're looking into. So you have the option to do any of this activities. So that's the basic type of integration. And one of the good things about Scribe Online is that you have an advanced type of integration creation, which gives you a nice schematic and a nice platform, which allows you to drag and drop depending on what you want to do. It's built on Silverlight, so you do have to have Silverlight installed in your machine. And once you do have that, it's fairly easy to use. So you provide a query, and then you tell it for each query to do A, B, C, D. Okay, so once you have the integration built, and depending on if it's a regular, if it's a one-time integration, then you can go ahead and run your mapping now. So theoretically what should happen is the integration should extract the information from the CRM endpoint and put them in my SQL database that I specified earlier. And also another option you have is for each of your integration, you can run them on a specific schedule. But this is where you will have to get fancy and create a specific type of integration if that's what you want to do. So in my example, what should have happened is that I should now have data in my SQL database, which happened. So it's a very quick integration, and the best part about it is that it allows you to virtually connect to different agents and integrate whatever data you want to. So that's why earlier I specified that it's very important to come up with the list of the type of integrations that you're looking for, the type of application that you have running, so that because Scribe Online is very powerful and you have access to vast amounts of data because you're able to connect to your local instances. So having a clear plan of what you want to implement and what you're looking to do really helps you out in your integration process. So that finalizes our webinar for today. Okay, I hope that was useful in introducing Scribe Online. We'll have some additional webcasts pertaining to Scribe. So just look out for our emails and we'll let you know.